He saved her from certain death. She sees him not as a man, but as her pride. We examine the trust and language built between a conservationist and a wild lioness. The dusty landscape of Botswana can be unforgiving, a place where the law of nature is absolute and brutal. It was here, under the relentless sun, that a tiny, abandoned lion cub lay dying. She was not weeks old, but days, a helpless fragment of the wild, rejected by the pride that should have protected her. In this silence, far from the roar of a mother, what kind of future can a predator possibly have? This is the profound emotional question at the heart of their story, the choice between a natural death and an unnatural life. If you're already enjoying this story, a quick like and share makes all the difference. Let us know in the comments where you're listening from today. The stage for this incredible story is the Modisa Wildlife Project in Botswana, a small conservation initiative tucked deep into the Kalahari bush. It is a sanctuary, yes, but not a zoo or a theme park. It is a place dedicated to the education and rehabilitation of local wildlife. This is where Valentin Grüner, a young conservationist with a steady gaze and an unwavering philosophy, had come to commit his life. He believed in coexistence, in finding a sustainable balance between the needs of the land, the people, and the magnificent, often imperiled animals that call it home. The reality of conservation, however, is often brutal. It is about difficult choices and heartbreaking losses. It was a grim, routine patrol that led Valentin to the cub. She was only a few days old, a miniature echo of a predator, too weak to lift her head. Her pride had left her behind, a natural, though cruel, form of population control. This moment, simple in its tragedy, presented Valentin with an existential conflict. To intervene was to defy the laws of the wild he revered. To walk away was to condemn a living, breathing creature to a slow, inevitable death. He knew the criticism he would face. Raising a predator, particularly a lion, outside its natural family is a massive undertaking and a point of serious debate in the conservation world. It risks imprinting the animal, compromising its ability to ever return to the wild. Yet, looking at the fragile, gasping cub, there was only one choice that aligned with his core belief: the preservation of life. He named her Sirga. The name carries a softness, a quiet strength that belied the immense challenge ahead. The immediate future was a race against time. The immediate threat was not the wild, but dehydration and starvation. Sirga was too small, too frail. She had to be syringe-fed, an act that is profoundly unnatural for both human and lion. Every moment was precarious. Every intake of milk was a victory. Every rejection a step closer to failure. Valentin had to work not just as a caregiver, but as a surrogate lioness, providing warmth, security, and the persistent encouragement of a mother. When a wild animal is this young, its senses are barely developed, but its innate understanding of safety is absolute. The simple act of Valentin's touch, his body heat, and the steady rhythm of his heart became her sanctuary. The first breakthrough came not with a triumphant roar, but with a peeny, almost imperceptible swallow. Sirga took the milk. This was the moment the balance shifted. A commitment was made, a foundational, nonverbal agreement between two different species. For Valentin, it confirmed his purpose. For Sirga, it was the first building block of a trust so deep it would one day challenge everything we believe about predator and prey. This single drink of life was the first chapter of their shared story. It transitioned Sirga from a lost animal back into a living being, and bound Valentin to a unique, formidable destiny. Valentin's goal was never to tame Sirga, but to raise a lioness who was psychologically whole and capable of independence, yet comfortable enough with his presence to allow their unique coexistence to function. This meant her upbringing had to be radically different from that of a pet. She was not confined to a cage. She grew up exploring the vast, fenced-off territory of Modisa, with Valentin as her constant shadow. Their bond was forged on the move, built through shared experiences in the wild. Early on, their interaction was tactile and intimate. Valentin would allow her to play attack him, a vital learning process for a young predator. He had to learn the nuanced language of a lion, the flick of an ear, the shift in a tail, the almost imperceptible narrowing of her eyes. This nonverbal lexicon became their primary mode of communication. The first challenge was food. Sirga needed to associate her meals not with a bowl, but with the hunt. Valentin meticulously sourced carcasses from ethically managed calls and taught Sirga to tear at the meat, to understand the raw, necessary violence of a predator's meal. He had to reinforce her innate predatory drive without becoming prey himself. This required an extraordinary level of trust. Valentin was consistently present, but never intrusive. An observer, not a controller. As she grew, so did her power. A lion cub becomes a formidable young adult in a startlingly short time. The playful nips turned into serious jaw pressure. The clumsy pounces became lightning-fast strikes. This transition was the most dangerous time for Valentin. He had to be constantly vigilant, reading her intentions moment by moment, ensuring his actions never triggered her full predatory response. Yet Sirga always drew the line. She understood the boundaries of their relationship, a line drawn not by fear, but by genuine affection and the primal recognition of kin. She would charge full speed, only to collapse in a flurry of affectionate head rubs at his feet. She had learned that Valentin was a safe presence, an extension of the pride she never knew. This wasn't training. It was the slow, beautiful, and profoundly risky evolution of a cross-species family. Their daily walks became a unique spectacle, a man and a magnificent golden lioness moving through the scrubland, an image of mutual respect that few on earth have ever witnessed. The ultimate proof of Valentin's success lay not in Sirga's affection, but in her ability to remain a predator. If she became dependent, she could never truly be a lion. The next phase of their journey was dedicated to hunting. Valentin could not and would not hunt for her. His approach was radical. He would drive out into the enclosure, locate prey animals, always from ethically managed herds, and step back. He became the observer, the presence that marked her safety, but not her provider. He would open the truck door and allow the lioness to stalk, chase, and secure her own meal. This was the proving ground for Sirga's instincts. It was a tense, critical dynamic. The moment Sirga crossed the threshold into the hunt, her focus narrowed, and the playful lioness vanished, replaced by the lethal efficiency of a wild hunter. Valentin had to trust that the foundational bond of respect and kinship was stronger than the surge of her primal instinct. There were times when Sirga, having successfully secured her meal, would look back, a silent invitation to share the spoils of the hunt. This gesture, the equivalent of a lioness bringing food back to her pride, was not a sign of dependence, but a profound expression of acceptance. She was not just tolerating him, she was integrating him into her life's most crucial, primal ritual. This was the moment their cross-species relationship transcended training and became family. Valentin would wait for her to eat first, maintaining the proper hierarchy of the pride, before he would step in and remove any remaining pieces, ensuring she learned to eat all she could, a vital lesson for survival. This continuous, dangerous teaching process reinforced two truths. Sirga was a proficient, capable hunter, and Valentin was the one variable in her world that instinct could not override. The most profound demonstration of their bond did not happen in crisis, but in a moment of quiet, absolute freedom. The enclosure was large, but it was still a boundary. There were times when Valentin would simply open the gate, allowing Sirga to walk out into the vast, unfiltered African bush. In these moments, she was not a pet. She was not a rescue. She was a lioness. The instinct to wander, to explore, to find her own kind must have been immense. Valentin would wait. This vigil was the emotional crest of their story. He would stand, vulnerable and alone, relying entirely on the unique language they had built. Minutes would stretch into hours. The silence of the Kalahari became the true measure of their relationship. Every fiber of the conservationist's training told him she should keep going, that the law of the wild dictates independence. But every memory they shared told a different story. Then, from the shimmering heat of the distance, a figure would emerge, not running, not stalking, but walking with a deliberate, powerful gait. Sirga would return, not out of necessity, but out of choice. She would ignore the vast, tempting wilderness behind her and collapse against Valentin, initiating their unique, forceful greeting, a head rub that carried the weight of a familial embrace. This was the ultimate validation. She saw him as home. She saw him as family. Their bond was the invisible, unbreakable thread that made her return. It proved that love, trust, and shared history could exist even at the apex of the food chain, defying all conventional expectations. Their story, documented through years of life at the Modisa sanctuary, is more than just a tale of an unusual friendship. It is a foundational study in the power of empathy over instinct. Sirga and Valentin's life together offers a profound challenge to the rigid categories we use to define the natural world. It shows us that connection can transcend species, that trust is a reciprocal language, and that the boundaries we assume are absolute can be crossed by genuine, unconditional love. Sirga is a living, breathing paradox, a wild, deadly hunter who greets her human companion with the gentle deference of a family member. The legacy of their bond lies not just in Sirga's survival, but in the message it sends to the world of conservation. It suggests that the path to protecting these apex predators might be paved not only with fences and scientific data, but also with deep personal commitment and a willingness to see the individual animal, not just the species. Their relationship is a potent symbol, a demonstration that compassion is not a weakness, but a fierce, foundational strength. The lioness who returned to the man is a modern fable for a world desperately seeking harmony. Their story reaffirms the simple, profound truth that to truly save the wild, we must first learn to love it, intimately and fiercely, as one of our own. We see in Sirga and Valentin a beautiful, terrifying hope, that even the deepest wounds of abandonment can be healed, and that the language of the heart is louder than the call of the wild. It reminds us that empathy is not just a human trait. It is the silent, essential communication that flows between all creatures capable of profound love. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If this story moved you, please consider liking and subscribing. It truly helps us bring more stories like this to light. We have a question for you. What was the single moment in this story that resonated with you the most? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single one.